You're in the Temple of the Rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by becoming one of those. This one's for Rado Ken, who says, rant about society's obsession with labels. Excellent. This dovetails into what I was just thinking about, which is that, in general, what people want, what people need in order to be happy, is a sense of purpose. That is the core of everything. If you want to make somebody feel good about themselves, you need to give them a sense of purpose and the sense that they are, achieving that purpose or working towards it. And I think that we all kind of are looking for shortcuts to this, because having a sense of purpose is like a clear-cut ideal that sits at the top of your mind. It's like the big thing. It's like if I want to be a writer, very easy to say, like, yes, I'm gonna be a writer, that's my purpose, that's what I'm trying to achieve. In reality, you probably need something more complex or more nuanced than that, and you'll start to appreciate that as you get older, and, maybe you become a writer, and then you're like, okay, well, this doesn't occupy enough of my time to be the only thing I care about, but, like, generally, it's that sense of having purpose that propels people. And for young people, when they're trying to find a way to define themselves, to give a name to who they are and what their purpose is, the easiest way to do that is through a label. You discover that there is a name for the thing that you feel inside, but it doesn't have, you couldn't clearly define it, and then you hear a word and you latch onto it and you go, oh yes, that's who I am, And I think that it's very alluring. It's very attractive to be able to, have your Twitter bio that says, like, I'm a freelance writer, male pronouns, fucking, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is a summary of me right here, this is how I want to present myself, And then to be able to, like, reiterate that again and again and reinforce it in your actions. And it gives you kind of a clear guidebook on what to care about from that point forward. It's like, okay, supposing that I am this person I purport to be, what is the set of interests this person would have? What should I be participating in order to be this person? And that's where the sense of purpose becomes generated. It's that you feel as though you are working towards, perpetuating this identity and being this person, becoming this person. There's an interesting You Are Not So Smart article that I read way the fuck back that talks about how, people think that they make decisions on the basis of their identity. They think that they go, okay, I'm this person, so therefore I do this thing. But it's the opposite. The way people actually work is that they do something, and then in order to justify the things that they've done, they then, describe themselves as a person who would do that thing. And so the action becomes reinforced, and they will continue to perpetuate that action. So if you are somebody who, like, plays a video game and enjoys it, and then you go, okay, I'm a gamer, and then you continue to do that. It's like, it's not necessarily that you were a gamer all along, as that now that you've defined yourself that way, you will, continue to participate in that, and through that sense of purpose, you will do it more and more. And this is how we get so many people who, I think, end up doing a lot of things that they're only mildly interested in, or that they probably wouldn't have done normally, but because it fits into their identity, it's, again, it's just a clear-cut way to easily find things to do, ways to behave, as opposed to constantly having to, stare into the void and ask yourself at every single junction if this is you. Which is how I live my life, because I've always been very anti-label. I don't like to put myself into those kinds of boxes, because more often than not, a label represents a large enough stable of people, or a large enough, cabal of ideas, that some of it I disagree with. And there are some people who are comfortable with labeling themselves something and then, rigidly defining what they think that label means, and just saying, well, okay, this is what I mean by that label. Personally, I think at that point it's unhelpful. At that point, the message is so obfuscated that it's like whoever you're telling it to is not going to understand. If it's just for yourself, that's one thing, I guess. But, if I were to go around telling people, I'm a feminist, for instance, I know what I mean by that, that, I think women are equal to men. But, the term means something different to everybody who's going to hear it and everybody who's going to say it. And instead of me trying to say, oh, well, by that I mean this, just cut out the middleman. Don't call yourself a feminist. Just say what you think. Yeah, I think women and men are and should be equal. Should be thought of as equal. Is that feminism? I don't know, because everybody has a different definition of it, and I'm not a prescriptive linguist, which is another word for idiot douchebag. I'm a descriptive linguist, somebody who believes that language means what it is identified to mean by the greatest consensus of people, and with most of these labels, there's not necessarily a clear consensus. Now, I've been comfortable calling myself an otaku, and it's because I have not seen a definition of otaku that I felt uncomfortable being described as. So, that's the one case where there's a label that I say, you know what, I don't think there's anything, even if you think otaku are like creepy sex perverts, I don't necessarily think that's an unfair description of me. So, I'm okay with whatever baggage comes with being called an otaku. That's just me. But, that's the only level at which I would participate in a label. If there's anybody who's defining it differently from me, I would rather just hit you with the definition. Generally, I wish people would not label themselves, and I understand why people justify it by saying, oh, well, by having labels, it makes it easier to understand the position and to spread the word. And, if you're doing activism or something, for instance, again, feminism, it's by participating in this group and making it a thing, then, you get more recognition to the cause. But you also invite way more misunderstanding. And, we are in a society now where we can have nuanced conversation on a broad stage and be listened to, and where, debate is happening all the time between people and being broadcast to a massive audience, and it would be so much more helpful if we weren't trying to boil everything down to these simplistic labels. We don't need to do that in order to spread a message, I don't think. And I think that far more often these labels end up becoming very easy targets for people. It's if you associate yourself with a group that people have an opinion on, you basically are just invalidating your opinions to anybody who has a presupposition about what that group is, and you don't need to do that to your opinions. You're undercutting yourself by just taking on the identity of a group that you have no control over the perception of, So, fuck labels, just be who you are, and don't try to boil that down to a single word or a set of phrases, a set of words. Just exhibit the attitudes and opinions that you have at all times, and on a case by case basis, make it clear who you are and where you stand.